Groovy English Podcast.
Hey there, Groovy English fans! Welcome back to another episode of Groovy English, the podcast where you learn everyday English through real conversations that help you grow inside and out. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Aiden, ready to dive deep with Chloe today.
Today, we're diving into something that affects everyone, every day, no matter your background or where you live. We're talking about how to manage your emotions and the power of not reacting.
You ever get so angry that your face gets hot and you just want to explode? Or maybe you've been so nervous that your hands shake and you say something awkward?
Yep, we've all been there. And that's the thing. Emotions are part of being human, but learning to understand them and not react immediately is what helps you stay calm, make better decisions, and build stronger relationships.
Today we'll share real-life stories, talk about why emotions get the best of us, how to slow down, and practical tools you can start using today. And as always, Emma will join us later to break down English vocab and phrases from this episode.
Let's start with the basics. Emotions are signals. They're like your body and brain's way of telling you something important. For example, fear can signal danger, and joy might tell you something good is happening.
But the tricky part is that emotions aren't always accurate. Sometimes they react before we've had time to think. Like, you might feel offended by a text message, even if the other person didn't mean it that way.
Right. That's why reacting immediately can be dangerous, because your brain is in fight or flight mode, not logic mode.
Here's a quick example. I once got a text from a friend that just said, "Wow, okay." I immediately thought they were mad at me. I was about to call them and demand, "What's your problem?" But I waited. And when we finally talked, it turned out they were just surprised about something totally unrelated. If I had reacted with anger, it could have started an unnecessary fight.
So true. That's why managing emotions doesn't mean pretending you don't have them. It means recognizing them and choosing how you respond.
Okay, this might sound simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful tools for emotional control, the pause. Before you react, just pause. That tiny moment can change everything.
Right. So many of us react instantly when something triggers us. Like, imagine this. You're in a long line at the grocery store, you're tired, someone cuts in front of you. Your first reaction? Anger. You want to say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Exactly. That's the emotional reaction. It just explodes without thinking. But if you can hit the pause button, even for 3 seconds, you give yourself space to choose how you want to respond.
Here's what that could sound like. You pause, you take a deep breath, and you think, okay, that was rude, but yelling won't help. Maybe they didn't realize. Or maybe they're in a rush for a reason I can't see. Then maybe you calmly say, "Excuse me, I think I was ahead in line."
That pause gives you control. Instead of letting the emotion lead you, you lead the emotion. And here's the thing. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. You're still allowed to feel angry or upset. You're just not letting those feelings control your actions.
Here's something that happened to me recently. I was on a video call at work. I made a suggestion, and someone on the team immediately said, "No, that won't work," without even letting me finish. In that moment, I felt my chest tighten. My face got hot. I felt disrespected.
Totally normal reaction.
Yeah, my first instinct was to interrupt them and say, "Let me finish." But instead, I paused. I stayed quiet, took a slow breath, and said, I understand you have concerns, but I'd really appreciate a chance to finish my thought first. That pause helped me stay calm and confident, and they ended up listening.
That's such a great example. And it shows that the pause doesn't have to be long or dramatic. It can be as short as one deep breath.
Exactly. The goal isn't to never feel anything. The goal is to notice when a big emotion hits and make space before you act on it.
So the next time something triggers you, someone criticizes you, cuts you off in traffic, or makes a rude comment, remember, you always have that tiny moment of power, the power to pause, reflect, and choose your next move.
So, how do we actually train ourselves to use the pause? What if we forget in the heat of the moment? Let's break it down with some real tools you can start practicing today. Tool number 1, conscious breathing. It sounds simple, but when you're triggered, just inhaling slowly for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4 can calm your nervous system. This gives your brain time to respond instead of react.
Yes, I do this during work calls when I feel myself getting tense. Just that one slow breath helps me regroup. It's like pressing the reset button.
Tool number 2, label the emotion. In your head, try saying, "I'm feeling frustrated," or "that hurt my feelings." Studies show that when we name the emotion, it actually reduces its intensity in the brain.
That's wild, right? Just naming it helps tame it, like, okay, I'm overwhelmed right now. It's simple, but powerful.
Tool number 3, delay your reaction. Give yourself a buffer. If someone sends a message that annoys you, don't reply instantly. Write the response in notes first, or sleep on it.
Yes, I once drafted an angry email but didn't send it. The next morning, I reread it and thought, thank goodness I didn't hit send. My second response was calmer and actually helped the situation.
Fourth tool, shift your focus. Instead of staying locked into the trigger, do a quick pattern interrupt. Get up, stretch, walk, splash your face with water. That physical shift helps break the emotional loop.
And finally, ask yourself a better question, like, what would my calmest self do right now? Or, will this matter tomorrow? It gives you instant perspective.
All these tools help you make that pause bigger and more meaningful until it becomes second nature.
And here's the truth. The pause doesn't mean you're weak or avoiding things. It means you're in control. You're not letting the outside world push your buttons.
When you start practicing the pause, you start leading your emotions instead of letting them lead you.
That's the groove. Let's keep this going. In the next segment, we're diving into some everyday emotional triggers and how to handle them like a pro.
All right, now let's talk about something that affects everyone. Even if you don't realize it, emotional triggers.
Yep. Triggers are like emotional landmines. You're walking through your day, everything seems fine, and then bam, someone says something or does something that hits a nerve, and suddenly you're upset, angry, hurt, frustrated, and you don't even know why you reacted that strongly.
That's because a trigger is more than just a small annoyance. It's something that touches a deeper wound, often connected to past experiences, insecurities, or beliefs. It feels personal, even if it's not.
Here's an example. I had a coworker interrupt me in a meeting once. Pretty normal, right? But I felt this intense wave of frustration like, how dare you cut me off? Later, I realized I grew up in a house where I had to fight to be heard. So when someone interrupts me now, it doesn't just feel rude. It feels like I don't matter. That's the trigger.
That's powerful. For me, it's last-minute changes. Like if someone cancels plans or changes something without telling me, I get anxious and snappy. On the outside, it just looks like I'm being inflexible. But deep down, it's about feeling left out or not respected. It reminds me of times when I didn't have control in my life, and it puts me right back into that place.
See how the trigger has nothing to do with the actual situation? It's about what it represents. It's not the canceled plan. It's the feeling of not being important.
Exactly. Triggers usually tie into deeper emotional themes like not feeling heard, not feeling safe, not feeling good enough, being left out, or feeling powerless.
And if we don't recognize those triggers, they control us. We lash out. Or we shut down. Or we say things we regret.
But when we become aware of them, we can pause, like we talked about earlier, and respond with intention. Here's a real story. A few months ago, a friend showed up late to dinner, again. I was about to say, "You're always late. Don't you care?" But I caught myself and thought, why does this bother me so much? And I realized it wasn't about the time, it was about feeling unimportant, like my time didn't matter.
So what did you do?
I took a breath and said, "Hey, I know life gets busy, but when you're late, it makes me feel like our plans aren't a priority." That turned into a real, honest conversation, and it strengthened our friendship instead of damaging it.
That's such a good example. So here's a little exercise for our listeners. Think about the last time you got really upset. Ask yourself, what was the trigger? What emotion came up? And what might be underneath that emotion?
And remember, triggers aren't bad. They're actually signals. They're telling you what matters to you. Your boundaries, your values, your emotional history.
And the more you learn about your own triggers, the more power you have to manage them, instead of letting them manage you.
Well said. Okay, before we wrap up today's episode, it's time for one of our favorite parts of the show, Emma's Vocab Corner, to walk through some vocab and phrases related to emotions. Emma, take it away!
Thanks, Chloe and Aiden. Okay, everyone, let's look at some of the interesting words and phrases related to today's topic. These can help you sound more natural when you talk about emotions in English. Landmine. Definition: something dangerous or explosive that's hidden or unexpected. Example: emotional triggers are like landmines. They can explode without warning. Snap. Definition: to suddenly lose control and react emotionally, usually in anger. Example: when plans changed, I almost snapped at my friend. Shut down. Definition: to stop communicating or expressing emotions. Example: after the criticism, he just shut down and stopped talking. Hit a nerve. Definition: to say or do something that touches a sensitive or emotional issue. Example: his comment really hit a nerve. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Take something personally. Definition: to feel hurt or offended by something that may not have been meant that way. Example: try not to take it personally. He probably didn't mean to ignore you. Overreact. Definition: to react more strongly than necessary. Example: I know I overreacted. It was just a small delay. Hijack. Definition: to take control in a forceful way. Example: when I got angry, the emotion hijacked my brain. Resentment. Definition: a feeling of anger or bitterness over something unfair. Example: I felt resentment when I didn't get credit for my work. Assertive. Definition: confidently expressing what you want or feel without being aggressive. Example: She was calm but assertive when sharing her opinion. Boundary. Definition. A personal rule or limit that protects your emotional well-being. Example. Knowing your boundaries helps you handle emotional triggers better. Alright, that's it from me. Keep listening, keep learning. And remember, emotions are normal, but how we handle them is what matters most. Back to you, Chloe and Aiden.
Thanks so much, Emma. Those words are pure gold.
Yeah, Emma, you always help us sound smarter and keep learning English in a fun way.
Okay, listeners, now it's your turn. What emotional triggers have you noticed in yourself? And which tool from today's episode are you excited to try?
Jump into the comments to let us know. We love hearing your stories. And remember, this is a judgment-free zone.
Also, don't forget to share this episode with friends who might need a little help managing their emotions. Because hey, we all do sometimes.
And if you liked hanging out with us today, subscribe and leave a review. That helps more people find Groovy English and join our community.
We'll be back next week with another Groovy episode. Until then, remember, emotions might be powerful, but you have the power to choose how you respond.
Stay curious, stay kind, and keep growing with Groovy English.
Bye for now.
Your English is shining brighter by the minute. Hit that next video to keep leveling up your skills. Or dive into our other episodes for more secrets to talk like a pro. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to join the Groovy English crew.